one more follow-up video here. I navigated around the eBay site and I was able to find this screen in an attempt to find a way for this person to appeal his the denial of his selling privileges. When we click on this link to request a limit increase, we go over here and it says, unfortunately, you're not currently eligible for a selling limit increase. And then when we click done, we go back here. So there's no way out of this and no way to appeal online that I can see, and there's no phone number to call that will go through. That's kind of arbitrary, and in my opinion, it is absolutely unacceptable. And if eBay can't bring itself to do the right thing by having a phone number to call and having people at eBay to contact directly, then I say bring in legislation. And if that sounds over the top, let's go over how, when and why they shut an account off. You might think it's the seller rating. If you know a little bit about eBay, you might think that if your seller rating goes down enough, then they shut you off. Nope, it actually has very little or even nothing to do with your seller rating. All that really matters is if a buyer complains about you, okay? Complains about you to eBay, and you don't satisfy that buyer, okay? So, and that's what we have right here. Cases closed without seller resolution. 2.6, 2.6, 2.6. Now the case can be, eBay would say, the product arrived damaged, late, all of these other things. As I said in another video, I believe there's no magic eBay wand or magic eBay processing center somewhere that verifies that something is damaged or not what it was represented or something like that. That comes from the buyer, okay? So if the buyer says the thing arrived damaged, well, here's what often happens. A buyer might say the thing arrived damaged, or there's a little chip, or it wasn't really what it was in the picture. Can you give me 10%? Can you give me 20%? And if you say no, and then the buyer goes to eBay, boom, you're in here, okay? That's how you get in here. It's 100% subjective in the sense that the buyer complained, right? And we see the same thing down here. Make sure your listings describe your item's condition, so forth and so on. Well, guess what? Guess what? If your name is Kwame, African sounding name, something like that, you're a whole lot more likely to have buyers complain about something because they know they've got the power card in their hand and they're more likely, they just know that. We know there's racism in America. We know there's racism all over the place. So if they're buying from someone who they suspect is African American, they're more likely to look at it real close and say, oh, there's this tiny little chip. Oh, you need to get 1/3 off, because they know the black guy is going to be really afraid of this. Okay? That's why eBay should be required to step up to the plate and arbitrate these and not just let it go between buyers and sellers. Now, everything's fine between buyers and sellers until we get here, because eBay, now let's go back to why this makes rational sense. A buyer raises an issue to eBay, that's true, but the buyer does not have unilateral power on his own accord to do this. eBay does. So eBay needs to recognize that they live in an imperfect society that has a lot of racism and a lot of other prejudices that can result in this, which is basically I complained about something and then asked for my money back or asked for a discount and the seller refused. You know, there's a lot of reasons that can happen that aren't based on fact. All right? So I would say that eBay should be required that before they do this, they have to they have to have a phone number and they have to get involved in the arbitration process. And their so-called metric here, are you kidding me? When your name is Kwame, you're going to get far more complaints than if your name is Adam. eBay needs to acknowledge that, and I don't want them to do something with their algorithm. That's phony baloney. What they need to do is they need to have a phone number and human beings be part of the arbitration process. All right? Period. And if they don't want to, there should be legislation. Remember, there's no way out of this loop. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I suspect that if I go on more in the documents, it's going to say take it to the eBay community, and maybe I don't know, maybe the eBay community, free labor, can tell me what to do from there. We will see. But the whole system is essentially corrupt.